What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I need to get back into rhythm here in the garage, and today we're gonna be working on the H2B CRX. We just got the car dynoed, and I want to put the drive shaft back on, and I want to put the bumper and everything else that I have for the car back onto the car, get it more complete so we can finally get rolling with the give back. And I probably am going to work on the Project CRX a little bit more as well too. Behind me here we have all of the boxes for the suspension stuff we've been waiting to show up. So right now let's go ahead and jack up the car, get the drive shaft bolted on. Maybe we'll pull it out and do a full wheel drive launch. So let's get to it. But first, let me move Project Blueberry out of the way. Shout out S1 Built, link in the description below. Forgot where all my hardware was at. Took me a little while to find it, but I have it. So let's go ahead and get this sucker reinstalled. All right, drive shaft on. All right, guys, so the H2B CRX is back on the ground, and before I take it over to the front of the house to wash it, I am gonna put the bumper back on finally. I don't think the car is gonna be on a trailer or a dolly anytime soon for the bumper to be off, because if you guys remember, I did smack it before. So gotta find my lights and all of the hardware to get this back onto the car. I might have to roll the car back because Lucy's sleeping right there. Because this thing is a mid-pipe. We don't have an ECU. Hit up your boy for all your ECU needs. Nomis Industries, link in the description below. S300 Cop Mini. That super deep rumble sounds freaking awesome. I don't think I have a shot of these two cars together, but man, they look good. Black wheels, carbon hood, gang. Let's go. Guys, let's take another look at the H2B CRX, looking more and more complete. I am super stoked about this car and sad at the same time, but it feels really nice to finally drive it tuned, and the all-wheel drive system is working really well. Right now, I'm going to put the car cover back on it, and then I'm just going to move this car off the driveway, move the CRX over here, Blueberry over there, and I'm actually going to wrap it up for tonight so I can get a full day on that car tomorrow, because we have about 25 minutes left before it gets pitch black. So let's go do some musical chairs, and see you guys tomorrow. You gonna help me, Memo? No? Okay. Tell me, guys, tell me, what do you do, huh? Tell me, what do you do? That's right. You cut away from yourself, not toward yourself. Back in Arley's, we have the inner tie rod with the boot and the straps. Got two of these. Got my magnet. Right here we have the rear camber arm. This is the OE replacement, left and right side. Got a magnet as well. We have front upper control arm, left and right side. And last but not least, we have Beck & Arley outer tie rods. And in this box, we have not one, but two magnets of the same. Okay. All right, guys, so if you remember, we did the alignment video, the first drive of the LSV-Tech CRX. We were super out of spec when we got to the shop, and then Neil did all he could to get everything back aligned. So if you look in the rear, we have negative 1.5 on the driver's side and negative 1.3, which is in the green for the passenger. Now the rear camber kit is factory, it's stock, and it is old, it is shot, so not entirely sure why it's off, but it's not too much. It's not too much. So I'm going to be changing that rear camber kit to some new ones with new bushings. So hopefully they are going to be more within the green than the red, although that's not going to be enough to like destroy your tire or anything. So because we're already in this vicinity, we're just going to change it all. So we're going to start with the rear camber arm. This bolt right here looks like it's not even tightened all the way down, which is kind of concerning, but these are just 14s. Okay, that might be stripped or something, which is very common, and you can already hear that this impact was putting some UGGs on there, and it didn't even move. Okay, it is loose. It's probably just a long bolt. Okay, this one super loose. Okay, this hole is slightly, looks slightly, somebody's doing some barbecue. Smells good. Anyways, slightly stripped, not fully stripped, but slightly stripped. I'm gonna see if I have a chaser to chase the threads out, and probably gonna use a new hardware. Go ahead and slap this new camber arm in. If you're using rubber replacements, you're supposed to load the suspension. The Max Peen rod coilover system is nice and stiff, that even if I jack this up, it wouldn't even change the position of the trailing arm. So we're not going to jack it up. We're just going to tighten up the way it is. The front though, the front we definitely got to preload because it does have a little bit of play. The back, it literally, the way this currently sits is exactly how it's going to be when the car's on the floor. All right, rear camber arm, driver's side done. It does have aftermarket LCAs, and the toe did spec out, so we're not going to change any of that. I was going to change the rear trailing arm bushings, but it's not fully detached, and I didn't buy bushings anyway, so that's on me. But aside from that, the rear alignment is just a camber arm. So let's go ahead and swap out the passenger side. Guys, I'm telling you, this bolt is not all the way in. So usually with all my cars, I like to do all of the suspension upgrade, if not replacement. Like La Ponda, I sold the car entirely with new suspension. This car wasn't going to do it, but when the alignment came out, a couple of in the reds, I figured, you know what, while I still have the car, let's just change it out. Now, I did tighten up all the bolts in the front, but I didn't think much about the rear. Dry rotted, super duper crusty. You guys probably can't see it. I would love to shoot with a better camera to show you guys more high def, but the abuse that my GoPro takes, not risking that again. All right, passenger side done. Before we get into the inner and outer tie rods, I am going to take off the front suspension to get the upper control arms off. This car has skunk 2s, and I don't want to deal with like eyeballing this here before taking it back to the alignment shop. Nilo told me to just pull it all the way out, but I don't want to do that because if I pull it all the way out here, all the way out there, I'm sure it's the same right now. I don't want one side to be more positive camber than the other, because currently the car has negative 2.9 and negative 2.3 on the passenger side. So if I just take off the camber arms and then put the OE style in, no adjustment, and hoping that this came out of the factory, you know, perfectly symmetrical, the camber should be somewhat the same as long as the ride height is the same on both the left and right side. So pull the shocks off, pull the upper control arms out, and then we'll get these put in before those. Upper control arm installed, driver and passenger side. So right now I'm going to do the inner and outer tie rod, and this looks OEM, the SH3 mark right here. Some aftermarket does have the marking like the OEM numbers here, but these look OEM, and you can see boot is torn up right there. I just noticed that the axle boot is torn as well. You can see all that grease. I'm gonna have to change that out, but this right here completely torn as well, and I'm gonna be changing all that. So no cotter pin, interesting. I cut the front of the boot right here to release it from the inner rod, and that comes off. On the boot that's connected to the rack, I took a Phillips, loosened it up, and then kind of just pulled it right through like that. This is the clamp right here, and now we have access to the inner rod. There's a bunch of videos online, including Eric the Car Guy. I've done this on the KRX as well. There's a little washer on the inside that's tabbed over that you have to either untab or just loosen up the nut to break that tab off, since we're not going to be using the old hardware. Show you guys over here, there's a little washer right here that has its little 2 tabs, and once you take that off, nut comes off, the inner rod should spin off the rack itself, and then you pretty much just install the new one the same way it came out, and then retab it so that way the nut does not back out, and then you can install the outer tie rod. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that one off. So this right here is the little washer, right? Has the 2 teeth right here that goes into the rack, and then these little tabs fold over the nut of the inner rod to keep it from spinning out. Now let's install the new one. Now you just got to bend this lip over the nut on opposite sides. So I got the driver's side done, inner rod, boot, and the tie rod. The boot to the rack is very, very snugged, and it is hard to get my hand in between to get the boot over the rack to strap it down. But nonetheless, we got it done, and I don't have the lower fork on just yet. I do have the shock already in here, but I'll tell you why after I finish up the passenger side. So I'm gonna go ahead and just knock that side out real quick, and then we got one more thing to change out. So we have the passenger side inner outer rod and the boot installed, coilover installed as well too, cotter pin is on. And before we entirely put everything back together, I did take notice of the sway bar bushing, and one, that is freaking large, bigger than the normal bushing that's supposed to go there, and secondly, it is installed completely wrong. So the bushing is supposed to be in between both top and bottom of the sway bar and then bolted into the LCA. This one has the bushing on the bottom, bushing on the top, nothing in the middle. It's literally free floating. So I'm gonna be removing that and replacing it, although that was actually not on the list. I just took notice of it now. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Isai for giving me pretty much this master bushing kit. This is for EGDC. This one is for EF, and there's a lot of bushings missing from this one already because he used them. This one is almost entirely complete. The only thing we don't have in here is the trailing arm bushings, and we do have sway bar bushing right here. So I'm going to be using this to change out the crusted one that's on the car, and yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and just knock that out quick because we lost daylight again, even though it's like 4:30. So when you buy the sway bar bushings, they come with an instruction, but I'm going to show you anyways. Bolt right here, you can put it from the top, you can put it from the bottom. I put it from the top in case the nut disappears, the bolt will stay in place. Washer goes on first, and then the bushing is it's flat on one end and then it's curved on the other side. The flat end goes towards the washer because the part that's curved is supposed to sit into the hole of the sway bar and the LCA. So flat part of the bushing going up after the washer, and then the bolt goes into the top of the sway bar, and then you have to put a bushing on the bolt going towards the sway bar upside down, the flat part facing down. Washer goes in. After the washer, you put the spacer goes on, and then you put another washer right here with the flat part facing the top and the cave part of the washer facing down, because that's where the bushing is going to be sitting. Bushing right here with the flat side going in after the washer, and then the bolt goes into the LCA. So now that we have the LCA pushed up, the bolt can go in right here at the bottom. I don't know how well you can see that. And then you put the bushing with the flat end facing the bottom, because we're going to be installing the last washer right here, and then nylon threaded nut. This is provided with the kit, and then you can go ahead and thread that on there. You can kind of feel it stop. You don't have to go super tight with that, and that right there is the new sway bar bushing. So guys, I will say that the driver's side doesn't have that crazy negative camber that was super visible from running the Skunk 2 camera kit. I knew the car felt a little wonky before, and I'm glad that I finally did the suspension, because the sway bar end link bushings, they just weren't installed correctly. And right now I'm gonna take it for a drive, although it's not gonna feel like, you know, nice and tight, because alignment could possibly be off after doing all of the new upgrades. But I'm gonna drive it anyways to make sure I don't hear no weird noises, and then we'll probably cap out this video. I'm really loving the fact that this car is super quiet now on the inside. Normally at nighttime, it always sounds louder. But I can feel the steering much more tighter, so that's really good. That weird knocking noise I hear in the back, I did found the coilover to the LCA was loose, and now that I've tightened it up, I don't hear that knocking in the back anymore, so that's also a plus. All right, guys, so we're gonna wrap it up for today's video. We did a lot. We pulled the H2B CRX out. We got it all cleaned up. We got it all put back together. I'm super stoked that this car is near done, but I'm sad at the same time because it's gonna go to a new home soon. But nonetheless, a promise is a promise, guys, and hopefully we get started with that real soon. Project CRX with the all new suspension overhaul, and the car's feeling really good. Definitely gonna have to get it to the alignment rack sometime in the next couple of days. So I am gonna wrap up the video right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around for more shenanigans here on the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.